This is the third time I've tried to make this video. The first time, I left off my third favorite book, and the second time, my phone died. So here we are again, 45 minutes later. Very original idea, telling you all of my favorite Stephen King novels. There's probably like 15 billion of these videos, but, you know, as I said in my last video, I'm anamorphing into a booktuber, kind of. But I'm rediscovering my love for books. I used to be an incredibly avid reader, and I just stopped. I don't know why. Life got in the way. I lost interest somehow. Depressed. Who knows? I'm back in. I'm really getting back into it. I've been reading. I read like at least 2 books a year, always, which I know to some people is like they read 2 books like an hour. But I've always kept reading. But I'm getting back. I used to read like a couple books a week. You know what I mean? And I'm getting back there, which is what I want to be doing, and because it's so fun. And I'm finding a lot of stuff that I did not know about before. A lot of good horror authors and all sorts of shit. So I'm sorry for you folks that don't like this stuff, but this is what it is, brother, you know? Anyways, I'm going to talk about some of these King books, because I do enjoy my man, Mr. King. He's very hit or miss for me these days. I feel like every other book I hate that he comes out with. But he's had some books the past 10, 15 years, like Revival, that are like fucking unbelievably good. But let's talk about these, all right? So there's 7 of them, because I have to be different. Let's not do 10 or 5, let's do 7. And a lot of these, you're going to notice, obviously I love the story, but the setting I'm in, and this is true with pretty much everything for me with books, is that the state of mind I'm in, the setting, these memories that are made reading the book are almost, it's part of the experience. So it's a big thing with me. So a lot of these, yes, I love the stories, but the experience is a big thing. So number 6 is Gerald's Game. I said 7, but let's fucking do 6. Gerald's Game. This was the first Stephen King book that I read. And my cousin gave me, I don't remember, this was like 2006 or 2007. I don't remember. I was in high school, I think, though. Maybe. No, I don't remember. But I was young though, and my cousin gave me like 20 hardcover first editions, and said, "Here you go, man. Here, get reading," because he was a big King fan. So I started with Gerald's Game, and it was good. You know, I had not been exposed. You know, say what you will about King, but I had not been exposed to that kind of storytelling, and I really, really liked that book. I'm a big fan of stories that take place in like one location. You know, I won't spoil anything, but Gerald's Game essentially takes place in a bedroom. There's more than that. There's flashbacks and stuff, but that's the setting. So I dug that one a lot. It was the first one I read. The second one, which would be number 5, is Dolores Claiborne. Let me take a sip real quick. I've been talking for like 45 minutes to nobody, you know, for the video. Not, ooh, that could go weird. I talk to people. I hear people. No, not really. These 2 books, Gerald's Game and Dolores Claiborne, they're kind of equal, although I think I like the story of Dolores Claiborne more. But what happened is, I read these 2 books, and I was moving rooms, and I had no furniture in my room. I just had a mattress on the floor, and I also had no light. I certainly didn't have a cell phone at this time, and I didn't even have a flashlight or a book light, or I had nothing. So I read in the middle. I believe I was reading these at like 1 o'clock in the morning, because I used to stay up till like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I read them by moonlight, which if you've never done, try it. It's cool, and it's not something you can do often, because I don't know, it's all dependent on where you live and the weather and everything, but you know what I'm talking about, those nights where you walk outside and it's so bright because of the moon. I mean, sunlight, obviously, but you know what I mean. I've never had an experience like that. I mean, I don't know if I could do that in my house now. Like, I have this big bay window right here. You see my big ass bay window. I don't know though if that would work. But if you've never done that, and you have the opportunity, like even if you can go sit outside or something, it's very cool. So that definitely impacts that. I will never forget that. But those stories are great. Dolores Claiborne, I don't know why, but I loved that story. And then I went and watched the movie with Kathy Bates. And not only do I think that's one of the best adaptions of his work, it's one of my favorite movies ever. It's so good. It's very dark, but it's very good. Danny Elfman did the music for the movie, by the way. Fun fact. I never knew that because it didn't sound like Elfman, but he sure did. 4 is Different Seasons. What do we have here? Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption. Unbelievable. Shawshank, the movie, is one of my favorite movies. What else do we have? The Body. Stand By Me. Amazing story, coming of age story. We have Apt Pupil, which I really liked. I don't know. I feel like people don't like that one as much. Dude, Apt Pupil, younger me really liked Apt Pupil. I really liked. I'll read that book again because that was a good one. Then The Breathing Method, which I loved that story, and you don't see people ever talking about that. That's a really good story that I encourage you to read if you haven't read it. It's really good. It's a very underrated story, I think. I don't know. I don't know if it's underrated, but I just don't see people talking about it. Next we have with the top 3. Number 3 is Misery. That was the second King book I read. And I remember my cousin telling me, dude, you gotta read it. Because I had seen the movie many times at that point. He said, you just gotta read it. That was the first book where I realized what books could be and why they're, my opinion, superior to movies most of the time, because it just can do something special. You know, it can just do things that movies can't. And Misery was like a religious experience for me in some ways, because it was like, I think I said it was the second book I read, and I had the movie in my brain, and somehow when I read Misery, I didn't see Kathy Bates and James Caan. It was James Caan, right? I didn't see them. I thought I would. I didn't. Like, when I would read Harry Potter, because I started reading Harry Potter in, like, 1997, like, when it came out, and, the movies had been coming out, so it was hard to not see them reading it. I didn't see them for some reason. That was the first book I read where it got in my head, and I was like, oh, authors can really make you feel like you're there, and I had my own visions for what these characters looked like Annie's house. I don't know, it just, something about it, the way it was written, obviously it's a fucking awesome story, but it's just crazy. I had my own, I was there, that was where I was like, King's really good at putting you there, and that one really impressed me because I had seen the movie many times. I really liked the movie, and I still do. I love the film, but man, that book was smoking good, man. And that was like really, I was like, I see what's going on here. I'm into this stuff now, man. And that book, that motorcycle or that lawnmower scene, man. All right, number 2. You're probably gonna guess what the last 2 are, but number 2 is It. Not much needs to be said about these final 2 ones. I'm sure you know what the number 1 is, but it is so good. So good. And I always tell folks that are like on the fence, or like, I'm not good with scary stuff. It is very scary at times. There are some horrifying scenes, like the bridge scene always freaks me out. The bridge scene in the beginning always freaks me out. But there's another one that's also, there's one, I think it's in a snowstorm. I don't remember, but it freaks me the fuck out. And then there's the Gila monster scene. There's a bunch of shit that's creepy in that book, but it is the scenes with the children, the coming of age scenes. There are like literally hundreds of pages in this book dedicated to children just getting, like, hanging out. And it's done so well. I don't know. Like, maybe it was the fucking coke he was doing at the time or something. Something was in the sauce with that book, right? Everybody has rocket sauce that they get to use for a project. And it's hard, some people use it up too quick. Mr. Stevie Boy used that rocket sauce very well. That's the seasoning, right? That special seasoning. He applied it perfectly, and it is a long bastard of a book. It's well over 1,000. I feel it's like 1,200 pages. It's very long, and it doesn't drag for me ever. It never drags for me, man. It's just, it feels long, but it doesn't feel like it's dragging. It's the best way I could describe it. It is an experience to read it. It's not a quick read, but it just feels like like when I finished that book the first time, I felt like I was coming down from like some sort of like trip, right? Like I was like sweating, like, oh my God, I gotta call people and like tell them what, it was a big deal for me. And it was great. I read it, the second time I read it, I listened to the audiobook, which is a fun thing to do if you've never done, to, read along and listen along at the same time. And I think it was Steven Weber who did the audiobook, and it's so good. It's like 70 hours, but it's really good. Number 1 is The Stand, of course. I read the original one first. I had a great original copy of that. And then I wanted to get I lost it. Something happened to it, and I wanted to get my own copy. So I ended up getting pardon me, my hands are falling asleep. I ended up getting the expanded, uncut or whatever version of that, the one that's like, 1,200 pages or whatever, or like 1,500 if you get the mass market paperback. There's my cat, by the way, meowing at the wind. Come here. See if she'll make an appearance. No, she's just going to ruin the end of this video. Bear with me. Bella, come here. Oh, here hello. Can you please be quiet? Okay. She probably wants dinner. I don't know if it was Cemetery Dance or who. I don't remember because I wasn't really into that stuff then, but I just was like, oh, I'm just going to get a hardcover. I picked up this hardcover and it had these awesome black and white photos in it. Hey, if anybody knows like who put that out, or if you know what I'm talking about, let me know. The cover art, like the dust jacket, was like not that great looking, but the actual book was like, I don't know, it was a specialty publishing house. It was a beautifully done hardcover. It was very good quality, like definitely a step up from a trade hardcover. And I had these pictures, and I read it again, and the memories I have of that. Yes, the story's awesome. I love that story. I'm into that stuff, so I really dug it the first time I read it. But actually getting to read the expanded stuff and how it was changed, and I just took that book everywhere. I loved, well, and I'll go more into that in my video about hardcovers, but it was like my tome that I took everywhere, right? People started making jokes because I was taking it everywhere. And that's just, I don't know, that's just such a crazy good experience, It took me a really long time. I read pretty quick, but it took me a long time to read because I was super slow with it, but I took that sucker everywhere. That's number 1. It's probably always going to be number 1. Who knows? I don't know if I talked about Amazon at the beginning of this video because I can't remember anything. But I had a bunch of books I was going to show you that I was going to be reading, but they're like every Amazon purchase is late. I hate Amazon, but I can't stop. But they're late. I have Prime shipping, and I do the Prime shipping, and it's late. So it fucking happens every time. It's like, maybe I should ask for my money back. I don't know, but it's supposed to be 2-day shipping, right? Sometimes it's a week. Who knows? Anyways, though, what I'm reading right now is a novel called Night Film by Marisha Pessl. That's what I think how you say her name. I'm like 130 pages in. And then, so it's like really, really good. I dare say like one of the best books I've read of all time, maybe. It is like literally that good. It's a crazy, crazy, like weird mystery book. Maybe a thriller. It's just like a I can't think of the word. It's just a strange mystery with some unique storytelling elements that I'm really liking, that I've never seen before. It's fucking really good. I'll review it, but I got a ways to go. It's a long one. Yeah, thank you for sticking through this video. If you're new, most of my videos are really long because I don't like cutting shit and putting an intro. I don't do that. I just like it like I'm chatting to you folks, so that's what I do. But yeah, thanks for all the viewership and everything. I always like hearing from you, of course. So please tell me, like, what are you up to? What are you reading? All that stuff. You seen any good movies? Y'all can talk about whatever you want in the comments, of course. So Yeah, but have a great day, everybody. Read on. Peace out. Yeah, everything. See you later.